What a beautiful day it is outside today. Happy Friday. Although you might be watching this like different day when I recorded it. So the weather might not be quite as nice. I don't know if you can see outside the window behind me, but this morning, Friday, for us, it's bright sunshine, cold, frosty grounds, and it's dry. And my interpretation of that is that it's beautiful. And this is what I wanted to talk to you about today, because so many of you, and I used to be in this camp until I learned what I now know. Like if it's raining, it's a bit windy, you go into the supermarket and the checkout lady will go, "Oh, isn't it awful outside today? Isn't the weather terrible?" And of course, if you say something's awful or something's terrible, how do you think you're going to feel? It makes you feel crap. It makes you think, "Oh, it's not bother, have to stay in, I can't go anywhere." You know, you feel kind of that deflated and you want to just curl up on the sofa. But I want you to ask yourself, how is it possible for the rain, which, let's get scientifically factual here, is water. It doesn't have any emotions of its own. How is it possible for the water to push an emotion into your body? Like, I really just want you to think about that for a minute. How is it possible for the wind to make an internal emotion within a human? Now, another human might look outside today and go, "Oh, it's a bit treacherous, it's a bit dangerous on the roads with the ice." That's going to make them feel maybe a little bit anxious or a bit nervous or a bit on edge. So the fact is, the sky is clear. It's minus degrees or at 0. That is the fact. I interpret this weather as beautiful, so it makes me feel good. Somebody else might say it's treacherous, which will make them feel maybe not so good. If it's the weather that makes us feel, how is it possible that two people feel something different? How is it possible that for some people, when it's raining, they feel really good because maybe they're excited about being able to do their sport if they're a whitewater kayaker, or this means their crops will grow, or maybe they just like being out in the wind and the rain. But if it's the rain that makes the human feel, how is it possible for two people to feel something different about the same situation? And it's because of our thoughts about it. And it's our thoughts that create our feelings. Now, this has been proven by science. This is not airy-fairy alternative woo-woo magic. It's been proven by science that your brain has a thought, and that thought sends chemicals into the body. So by what you say to yourself, by what you think, sends a feeling and emotion into your body, which is going to be like good or bad. Now, that's not to say you always have to feel good. I'm not saying that. Life is 50-50. What I am saying is you actually have control over your experience of the situation. And I do say this with quite a lot of compassion, really, because the reason that you're probably saying, oh, the weather's awful, isn't it terrible, is because you have heard that and you've been surrounded by that sentence your whole life. For some of you, might be a few years. So you've been unknowingly conditioned and programmed into believing that the weather, my son has just come in, so I'm just asking him to be quiet. The weather is, the rain is terrible. Now, another example of this is the summer and the heat. I love the heat. I love it when it's dry and hot and sunny. Friends of mine, they might be listening and know who they are, they really don't like the heat. They don't actually enjoy the summer because they don't like the heat. How is that possible? If it's the weather that causes you to feel rubbish, how can other humans not feel rubbish? It's because of what you're saying to yourself and what you are unconsciously believing and hearing all around you. But just because you've been programmed that way and been conditioned by society doesn't mean to say you have to continue to be like that. You get to control your experience. You get to decide whether you're going to let the rain make you feel rubbish, or whether you say to yourself, do you know what? It's raining. So what? Because that is a fact. It's raining is a fact. It's awful is an interpretation. And a fact is something we can prove in a court of law. It's awful, you can't prove that in a court of law because someone would disagree. It's terrible is an interpretation. You can't prove that in a court of law because someone would disagree. And the reason this is so important to kind of get your head around is because you then have the control over your emotions. Because if it's the rain that makes us feel crap, we can't change the rain. We have no control over the weather. You have no control over your circumstance. You have no control over a virus. If it's that that's making us feel and we can't change that, then we feel like we can't change. And that is a very powerless, helpless place to be. So realizing that it's not the circumstance that makes you feel, it's your thoughts about it, and you get to decide. That's what gives you your control. Just try it. You don't necessarily have to believe me, but the next time it's raining, notice what you're saying to yourself and just shift it. And bringing it back to my love of sugar and my new program, this is the same with any emotion. So an urge to drink more wine, the desire to eat chocolate, that need to spend money in order to feel better. It is not the spending or the drinking or the chocolate that makes you feel better. In that moment, you get a hit of dopamine and you're flooded with pleasure, obviously, temporarily. But after that, you feel like crap. You get to decide how you want to experience your life. And the way that you do that is by starting to be aware, first of all, of your thoughts and then changing them. So listen, it's really obvious to me, looking at your brain, to be able to tell you what your thoughts are. And especially being trained as a coach, that's what I do. I point out your thoughts because you won't see them. My coach points my thoughts out to me because I don't see them. They're in my head. They just appear as a fact. But I could help you. And I'd love to help you. So get in touch. Send me a DM. Send me a message. Let's get it all changing. Can't wait to meet you. Have an amazing weekend. Bye.